Alright, everyone. Welcome back to another What If. Now, I bet all of you are saying, wait, I thought the Deku one was your last one. Well, psych. That is my second to last. You guys seriously didn't think I had one final Naruto until I stopped and then worked on the old ones. Prepared? Nah, fools. I've been thinking of this since day one. Day freaking one. Now, for those wondering, what is this what if and why this what if? You see, I've looked on the internet countless times, and I've searched the same thing over and over, and it's always the same freaking answer. Do you know what I've searched? What if Naruto was the Ten Tails? And I always get, what if Naruto was the Ten Tails Jinchuriki? I don't want the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, I want the Ten Tails. So, that is why I have come up with the idea of what if Naruto was the Ten Tails, because I don't see anyone else have done this idea. This is original. So, let me just clarify a few things here. One guy I once watched, he did What If Naruto Was the Nine Tails. In this What If he did, he kind of had it to where the Nine Tails wasn't sealed inside of Naruto, but instead, the Nine Tails was turned into a human form, which is Naruto. So, I'm kind of getting the idea from that, which, sub to that guy, I can't remember his name, but just shout out to him and sub to him. If you know his name, tell me in the comments. Pretty much, Naruto in this is going to be the Ten Tails, or Shinju, or the Jubi, or the embodiment of, or evil, the purest form of evil itself. As this is what he will look like eventually, but right now he looks pretty human. As I'm pretty sure I have a, here. Just pretty much make Naruto look normal. And that's what you have. Now, Naruto, this story pretty much begins years before Naruto. As, well, allow me to explain. You see, when Kaguya was fighting against her two sons, she, in a fit of rage, summoned the Jubi. Pretty much, she, in a fit of rage, had the Jubi attack. However, instead of Hagoromo splitting the Jubi into 9 pieces, because the Jubi was far too strong, its chakra was too much, he then got the idea to transform, and to basically erase the Jubi's memories, and to keep the Jubi sealed away. Basically, he used a almighty sealing scroll, which pretty much the Jubi was sucked into the scroll. As inside the scroll, the Jubi pretty much over time forgot who it was, or basically it lost all of its memories, and the Jubi's divine form and the Jubi's powerful form faded away. As the Jubi became, well, the Jubi, or the Ten Tails, became just a soul, a memoryless essence, just a soul without any memories or recognition of what or who it once was. Oh, by the way, shippers, by the way, I forgot to explain this. Shippers, please back away from the comments. Like, do not post any ships in the comments. I've already got the ships covered. All I'm gonna tell you is that the ship is Kaguya. Yes, the ship is Kaguya. Now, anyways, Naruto, well, pretty much, we go to the age, and to the, what was usually known as the Nine Tails attack, as pretty much a terrorist group called the Akatsuki were attacking. As the Akatsuki basically wanted the Akatsuki basically wanted a couple of forbidden but almighty jutsus, which the first Hokage created or discovered. As the first of the almighty jutsus was called, well, I'm not going to really tell you the almighty jutsus, but I'm just saying that Naruto has them, or he will have them, as they pretty much would bust in looking for the scroll with these almighty jutsus, but instead they would see a scroll with 10 spikes on it. A scroll with 10 spikes on it. As they would then wonder, why 10 spikes? Weird. As the Akatsuki, because the tail beasts never happened, they aren't really there for the Nine Tails, as Nine Tails doesn't exist, as they are here for as pretty much, yeah. So anyways, they have no idea what the freaking what in God's name this scroll holds, as they try to take these, and as they try to put the scroll back, however, it falls and opens. As then out of the scroll comes a terrifying black and red shadowy presence or orb, which just goes and finds the first woman it can. And as pretty much Kushina was asleep at this time, as the Akatsuki are doing a stealth mission. As the scroll they are looking for is, well, pretty much in Minato's arms, as Minato and his wife Kushina are asleep, and he's hugging the scroll around his arms like a friggin' teddy bear. But the Akatsuki don't know this, so they're like, damn, we'll have to attack in the morning. Damn, we'll have to abort the mission. And report whatever the crap that thing was. Let's hold on. Right. As pretty much she would have been, Kushina would have been sleeping as, as the black and red shadowy, the essence would, or basically the 10 tails of soul, would go into the virgin that is Kushina. As a sudden darkness would overtake Kushina, as the Naruto would pretty much be being created. As next day, Kushina would notice that she's sick and would begin puking. As now, Minato would absolutely be confused about this because he had not ever done it with Kushina. As they would go to the doctor and pretty much hold on. As Kushina would go to the doctor, and she'd have a pregnancy test. As she would be pregnant, but she would also be virgin. As this would confuse Minato and Kushina and the doctors and everyone else on so many levels. As then, and we skip 9 months. As Naruto would have been born, he would have basically look like this with his blue and white eyes. As he'd then say, as pretty much he would look like Minato, but he wouldn't exactly have whiskers, but yeah, I'm gonna give him his whiskers. No, I'm gonna take away the whiskers, okay? He has no whiskers. Well, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry then. Because I have no freaking clue when World War II happened. But back to the, what if, as Naruto would have been born, and he would have had his whiskers. Yes, I'm still giving him the whiskers, and he'd look like a Minato. As they would be absolutely confused, but meh. They would think it's Minato's child. As they would name him Naruto Uzumaki. As we skip to the age of 4. When Naruto was at the age of 4, his father would have begun teaching him. And of course would begin sending him to, well, the academy. As Naruto would train in the academy, and he would be at the top of the class. Actually, he'd be higher than the teachers. He'd be stronger. As then one day, it was time. As one day, the whole Mitsuki thing would happen. As Mitsuki would say, go get me this scroll. As he would not say the scroll of sealing, but he would say, bring me the scroll of almighty jutsus. And bring me the almighty scroll, which is the one that has the almighty jutsus in it, is called. As they would then say, well, I'm sorry. That's what my sources say. If you don't agree with me, then argue with my sources. Okay, I'm sorry. As, well, Naruto would have have basically, he would be still duped, like in canon, different scroll though, as he would pretty much open the scroll and learn these almighty jutsus, as one of them would be called Meteor Rain. That's right. Pretty much, Meteor Rain allows you to send a meteor that's about the size of a car. And a car I'm talking about is like a Honda. Just a regular silver Honda. A meteor that big. Except it's only 10 of them. All at different areas and all at different time. And all falling at different times. As he would then learn something called... And yes, I'm still gonna give him... Well, no I'm not, because the way this story will go is Naruto will be freaking overpowered, so I don't want to make him more overpowered by giving him the shadow clones. So yeah, he will not have the shadow clones, as one of them would be called, as another one of the almighty jutsus would be called would be called the Thor's Fist. As the Thor's Fist jutsu, basically imagine a Chidori, but mixed in with the Flying Raijin. As wherever his fist is pointing, he teleports to. And he goes through, and well, basically he goes at the speed of thought to that thing. However, his fist and him will go straight through anything that blocks his path. So yeah. Hold on. As Naruto would also learn another jutsu called the Awakening, and called Divine Awakening, which it was a one-time use, as he would use it and then his eyes would transform into Sharingans. As he then say, what in the... As the Divine Awakening jutsu basically allows you to awaken a semblance of your true power, and just a tiny fragment of your true potential. As Naruto, having his two Rene Sharingans, would be absolutely confused. Now Mitsuki would would basically fly out of nowhere, saying, "Give me the scroll." As Aruka would try to stop him like in canon, but, well, Mitsuki would basically hurt Aruka with the shuriken like in canon, as then Naruto would be angry, as then two black tails would form out of his back, and would basically come out of his back. As the black tails would then go straight through, well, one would go straight through Mitsuki's heart, as another would decapitate him. As then the tails would go back into Naruto, as he then say, What? As Naruto would basically fall asleep. As he would be in the mindscape, as he could hear a voice. This voice was distorted, as it sounded not like a voice in his head, but a memory. As Naruto would walk over and see what appeared to be a distorted screen showing a memory of sorts. As this memory would basically Oh, basically Naruto would be looking through the memory in first person, as he could see some, as he in his memory would see two people flying at him, trying to using all sorts of powerful looking jutsu to try and stop him. However, Naruto would then see how he created a sort of orb out of his mouth and then fired a giant laser, what appeared to be a laser. As that memory would then end, as Naruto would then say, Wait, what? Is that a memory?" And then Naruto would hear a cracked and distorted voice. It sounded like a fusion of a male and a female's, a old woman's and a young and a baby male's. Pretty much, it sounded like a balanced but completely distorted voice, as the voice sounded absolutely chaotic. As the as the voice would then say, "Welcome, Shinju." As Naruto would then say, Who's Shinju?" As he would then say, "Who's Shinju?" As the Naruto would be screaming, and would scream this for about 5 times, and he would wake up. As he'd then say, "That was the weirdest nightmare I've ever had." As Naruto would be in the hospital, where Iruka would be right next to him, but not damaged. Instead, he would be there he'd still be damaged, he'd just be there with bandages all over him, as he would then say, "Thank you, Naruto." And, "Are you an Uchiha?" Everyone and the doctors would begin asking, and so would Iruka. As then Naruto would say, "No, my name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. And there's no way in hell I'm an Uchiha." As they would then say, "Well, look at this." As they would show him, and as they'd bring him a mirror and show him the dojutsu that was in his eyes. As Naruto could see two giant red eyes with black dots in the middle and 9 tomoe, and 3 rings and 9 tomoe. As he then say, "What? Who in the... How?" As they'd say, "Some sort of new dojutsu, it appears." As Naruto would then say, "I guess." As he'd then hear the distorted and chaotic voice that he heard in his dreams saying, well, not yet, as they would say, "What do you think we should call it?" As then he would hear the distorted voice in his dreams saying, "Rene Sharingan." As he would then say, "I think I'm calling it the Rene Sharingan." As they'd then say, "Okay. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Dojutsu, the Rene Sharingan. It's a brand new dojutsu, so we'll have to wait and see how it develops." As Naruto would say, "Okay." As fun fact, the Ten Tails also has all the Kikigenkai of the other tail beasts, so yeah, I'm gonna give him all that good stuff. The lava from Son Goku. I'm going to give him flight from Chome. I'm gonna give him the wind release from Shikaku. I really would have thought that Shikaku had dust release, because sand is a type of, I think, particle like dust. Eh. But yeah, I would have really thought that Shikaku would have had dust. But as Naruto would begin and would basically, well, over time he will get all the Kikagenkai, including Yin and Yang release, which is the Nine Tails' release, or which in canon is known as the Nine Tails' release. As Naruto would then say, and would then say, well, I'm guessing I'm going to I'm guessing I'm going home today. As then Minato would be right next to him and say, yes, and are you alright? As Minato would look into Naruto's eyes and say, what is that? Some type of Sharingan? As they'd say, I guess so. Your son here has we have no idea what it is, so your son here has given us the name of Rene Sharingan. As he then say, strange. As Minato would then think maybe this has to do with something about how he came into this world. As he then say, weird. Well, it appears you have a new dojutsu. As then, pretty much, Danzo would walk in and say, what type of dojutsu does he have? As they then say, Danzo, how are you here? As Danzo would say, I was outside of the hospital room, and I was outside the room, and I heard, I was just walking around, and I heard new dojutsu. I wanted to see it. As then they would say, Naruto calls it the Rene Sharingan. As then Danzo would be absolutely interested in Naruto's eyes. As Danzo would know that the Renegon, or the I think it's Samasara or Samasara Eye. Basically, it's the Dojutsu of God, is what they call it. However, the name would also have Sharingan in it. As he knew, Sharingans only have can only have 3 Tomoe and 1 ring. However, Renegons have no Tomoe and many rings. As he would look into Naruto's eyes and see 9 Tomoe and 3 rings, as he'd then say, what in the... Minato, your son has a combination of the Renegon and the Sharingan. As they then say, what? Does he have any godlike abilities? As he'd then say, I don't, and as Naruto would then say, I don't know. As Danzo would want Naruto's eyes, but he would wait for Naruto to display any type of power. As then, Naruto would pretty much have been told good, and would been taken home. His mother would worry about him, and the next day he would go to the academy, as it would be time for teams, and there would be 2. And on his team, pretty much, now as I said, Naruto is the best in the class, so he's not considered dead last. In fact, Sasuke Uchiha is interested in Naruto, as he thinks of him being a good rival. Now, Naruto would see Sasuke, as Sasuke would then say, hey Naruto, over here. As Naruto and Sasuke were like, friends, but rivals at the same time. As then Sasuke would notice, and basically Sasuke would hear the teams be called out as Aruka would say Team 7 will have Kakashi, and we'll have Kakashi Hatake as the sensei. Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, and, as he would then say, as he'd then say, your team will have Hinata Hyuga, and Hinata Hyuga, as they would then say, okay. Now, they would basically be put on this team, they'd meet Kakashi, and I'm skipping I'm skipping 2 arcs here because I find both of them boring. Well, no, I'm skipping 1 arc and half of another arc, as pretty much I find the Bell Test arc boring. Now for the Land of Ways mission, as Naruto is in the Land of Ways mission, and he is pretty much seen by someone. As well, they're attacked by Zabuza, and someone tells Naruto something. As this someone then says, use two of your tails to pierce them. As he'd then say, okay. As Naruto by now would have learned how to use 2 tails, as then 2 tails would sprout out of his back, and one would go straight through Zabuza, as then the other would go through the bushes and go right through Haku. As he'd then say, is that okay? As then, pretty much, Kakashi would say, yeah, you just killed a A rank ninja, however. And you just killed Zabuza, Demon of the Mist. So, yeah. That's true. That's cool. As they would basically be walking over, they'd meet Gato and his men. Gato would try to destroy the bridge and kill Tazuna. As then Naruto would say, and would then say, oh, hold on. As Naruto would then say, Meteor Rain. As then he would say, Lightning Style. As then 10 meteors would fall from the sky, like 10 meteors the size of a Honda, would fall from the sky and they'd be charged with lightning. As pretty much they would basically be falling and electrocuting everyone. As then Naruto would then say Thor's fist, as he would go directly through Gato and teleport to a tree. As he'd then say, how is that? As they would then say, that's amazing. As the bridge would be called the Great Naruto Bridge. As, yeah. Everyone would think of Naruto as a hero there, and they would get done with the mission. As, well, we skip to the Chunin exams, the Forest of Death arc, as pretty much Naruto and his team are in a cave, Abe's waiting for the night, as then pretty much Sasuke goes out to go get food. As Naruto would then hear Sasuke scream. As he'd then say, huh? That's weird. As he would rush out and find Sasuke being attacked. Or, not exactly attacked. More like stalked. And, well, someone trying to rape him. As this person would be none other than the pedo sage. Yes, if Jiraiya is called the pervy sage, then I'm giving Orochimaru the nickname of pedo sage. As he'd then say, and as Orochimaru would then see Naruto, basically, he would try to basically be pervy with, and be a pedophile with Sasuke as he'd see Naruto, and he would, as just about to bounce, as then he would see Naruto's eyes. One problem with Naruto's eyes is he cannot turn them off. And one problem with Naruto's eyes is he cannot turn them off, as Naruto would basically rush over to Orochimaru, as Orochimaru would then say, What in the world are these eyes? They look so unique. They look almost as if they were a fusion of a Rinnegan and a Sharingan. They're perfect. I need to have this body, and I need to have this kid as my new body. Of course, I'll still take the Uchiha, but seriously, I need to take those eyes, and I need to have this kid's body. As he would rush over and try to grab Naruto, and try to bite Naruto, as then Naruto would then say another almighty jutsu called Divine Whirlwind, as pretty much Naruto would be just standing like freaking Goku in his UI form, and in his Mastered Ultra Instinct form, as then wind pressure and gravity would begin to affect. As wind pressure would be so strong, trees were bending back and were being uprooted just by Naruto standing still, as the gravity was getting so heavy that Orochimaru could barely stand. In fact, Orochimaru was on his knees. As then, pretty much Naruto would say, Divine Whirlwind style, Holy Strike. Unholy Strike. As then Naruto's blood would be basically pour out of him, as it would begin to shapeshift into, not really pour out of him, as Naruto's palm would open up, as then his blood would pour out of the palm, creating basically a sword blade, as he would then, or a pike, as he would then lash it, and as he would pull the sword right out of his hand would close and heal instantly, as he would then slash like a billion times. Basically, Naruto's attack lasted 30 seconds, right? Naruto slashed a billion times every nanosecond. So yeah, pretty sure Orochimaru went getting out alive. As the next thing you know, when Naruto's attack is done, that Orochimaru has been atomized. Like, atomized. As he's atoms of atoms of atoms right now. As Naruto would then say, that I think that's done, as he would begin walking away. As Hinata and Sasuke would just look at him like, what? As pretty much someone would try to throw a kunai at Naruto's head. This person, of course, being Anko. As the kunai would literally be full. However, she would have supercharged the kunai with, well, lightning. Yeah, she would have supercharged the kunai with a type of jutsu, as the kunai was going extremely fast, and Naruto, he would just raise his pinky right where the kunai was coming from, and the kunai would just bounce off his pinky. As Naruto would then say, who did that? As then Anko would flee. As then Naruto would say, I think that's done with. As he would then say, come on guys, I got us some, heaven scrolls. I got us some earth scrolls, because I'm pretty sure they had the heaven scroll. As Naruto would pretty much, Naruto would say, hold on. As Naruto would pretty much begin walking with his team to the tower. As they get in the tower and, things go from canon to there, Naruto freaking stomps the exam. Freaking stomps the preliminaries as we go to the last part. Or the final fight, to be exact. As Gaara would be fighting against Naruto, but not because he's a Jinchuriki. Because there is no Jinchurikis. As Gaara would have actually been respected and would have gotten a sort of, arrogance. As Gaara could control sand perfectly to the point where he could create giant colossuses out of sand. Basically, he could create a perfect Susanoo out of sand if he wished. As Naruto would say, and as Gaara would say, die! As then Naruto would say, 5 tails. And would say 6 tails, as then 2 tails would wrap around Gaara's Sand Susanoo's feet, as then 2 would wrap around its arms, 1 would wrap around its neck, as then another would wrap around its chest. As then Naruto would say, and would then say, Thor's fist, as he would go straight through the Susanoo, and straight through the Sand Susanoo, and, well, he wouldn't try to kill Gaara, but he would just punch Gaara out of the Susanoo to the point where he was badly hurt and burned, as Gaara would hit the ground and fall in pain, as he'd say, what are you? As Naruto would say, I'm Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of the 4th Hokage. As then someone would then say something, and, well, someone would then do something. This person, of course, being Danzo, as he would see Naruto's power. Well, a bit of it, as he would then say, hey, And as he would try to put Naruto under a genjutsu with Shisue's eye. As yes, the Uchiha massacre still does happen. As he would try to use Shisue's eye on Naruto, the Kodo Matsukami, as he would use the Kodo Matsukami on Naruto, and he would then say, "Gaha! What the?" As Naruto would begin whirling in his head as he would then see, and he'd basically be in his mindscape as he would see a giant sort of white and purple, and a giant white and blue sort of essence trying to take over Naruto, trying to basically kill Naruto in his mindscape. As Naruto would basically then say 10 tails. As 10 tails would sprout out of Naruto and go directly through. And they would go directly through him. As he'd then say, "No." And as basically the Kodo Matsukami would fail. As Naruto would then say, "Hey, was that some sort of mind control? Some sort of genjutsu? It won't work on me." As then Naruto would basically black out for a second, as someone would be very, 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 very angry that Danzo would try to take over Naruto's mind. Basically use the Kodo Matsukami on him. As then basically Naruto would begin speaking in a distorted and chaotic voice. As then he would say, "You dare hurt me. You dare hurt me. And you dare hurt my Naruto-kun." As the distorted voice would then begin laughing and smiling. As then she would say, behold the power of the Jubi, or the power of Shinju." As in all 10 tails would sprout out of Naruto, as they would then wrap around, as they would basically wrap around, what's his name? Oh yeah, they would wrap around Danzo, as he would then say, what is the meaning of this? As then he'd say, and as then the voice would say, "You tried to use Kodo Matsukami on Naruto-kun. For that, the punishment is death." As then as then Naruto's skin would basically, Naruto's 10 tails would retract around, out. Basically, they let go of Danzo as they begin swirling around Naruto. As then a bunch of wood would begin to form around Naruto, as he then transform into this state. Now, this is his incomplete Jubi state, as he then says, "Die." And the voice then says, "Die." As then, pretty much, a friggin' Jubi bomb would begin to be created, as then he would shoot it at Danzo. Danzo, of course, would be friggin' one-shotted. As then he would say, "Good." And as the voice would then say, "Good." As Naruto would then revert into this form, as he'd say, "What happened?" As then the voice would then say, "I took over your body for a mere moment. Shinju-kan." As Naruto would then say, "Shinju, my name's Naruto." As then a memory would begin to fly through Naruto. This one would be a bit less distorted, but still distorted. As this memory would have been of a tree, and would basically have been of a little girl sitting on branches. This girl would have had pale skin and blue hair. As she would be sitting on branches of a tree, as she would basically see an apple growing. As she would basically see an apple growing on the tree, as she would then say, "Hey, may I have some?" As the tree would not respond. But this memory, basically, it went on for many days, and many weeks, and maybe even months. As every day, the girl would go back to the tree, be nice to the tree, water it, feed it, and she would ask, May I have an apple?" Every day, and the tree would never respond. Until one day, the girl would be 17 years old, but she would still look like she was, no, she would be 53 years old, but she would look like she's 1. As then, she would say, "Can I have an apple?" As then the tree would then finally respond, as it would say, "You have been so kind to me." And Naruto is in the, basically right now, Naruto is in the perspective of the tree. As then Naruto would say, and as the tree would then say, "You've been so kind to me. You've fed me water, and you've watered me, taken care of me, helped me grow properly, and you're always nice to me. And every day you ask me the same thing, and I never answer, because I am one, always waiting for the day when you will attack me, or lash out in rage, or become insane. But you never did. Instead, you would always be nice and nice. You'd always be nicer and nicer to me. And you would always answer the same question. And even when I didn't respond, you would never take an apple. Therefore, today you may have an apple." As then a tree branch would lower down, and basically it would give the girl an apple. As this is just a normal apple. Well, not really, it's an apple. It's a chakra apple, as it's not exactly like the power of a chakra fruit, like the one that Kaguya ate. Pretty much, it only has a tiny bit of power and with chakra in it. But Kaguya would then say, "Thank you, Mr." As the tree would then say, "I am Shinju, the god tree." And that is where the memory would end. As then Naruto would say, "What? Who? Shinju?" As he'd then say, and as Naruto would basically wake up, and he would have won the thing, as then someone would, and as Naruto would pretty much walk out of the Chunin exams after winning, as he'd then hear someone and basically whisper to him, as this person would look completely black, and kind of like a demon. Well, more such like they were made completely out of ink. As the person would then say, "Hey, are you Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze?" As Naruto would then say, "Yes, I am. Who are you? Who are you?" As the black goopy creature would then say, I am Zetsu. And you should know that. And you should know who I am, of course, because you are basically my brother. As the Naruto would say, "What do you mean, brother?" Then he would say, "Let me guess, you have gotten at least 2, maybe even 3 memories." As Naruto would say, "I see glimpses of weird things. A while ago, I saw a glimpse of 2 people fighting against something which I was in the perspective of. And today I was in the perspective of a tree, and there was a little girl." As then Zetsu would say, "Good, good. You're getting your memories back, Shinju." As then Naruto would say, "Stop calling me Shinju. I have no idea who that is." As he'd then say, "You will find out soon, Shinju. You will find out soon." As Zetsu would walk away, and that is where I'm ending this part off on. Hope you all enjoyed this. Tell me if you want a part 2 or not. And goodbye.